Good afternoon, everyone. I'm doing my discussion today on the Scopes trial. Um, First of all, I want to ask you to please bear with me. I've been getting over sickness, so I'll probably have a lot of congestion and coughing and maybe a little runny nose. But the Scopes trial was a little history on it. It was essentially, as many deemed it, the Bible versus secularism or modernism, whichever one you want to really go with. But Um, essentially, Mr. Scopes was a teacher in school in Tennessee. At that time, you were not allowed to teach evolution in Tennessee during school during public schools. So he was actually put on trial because the book, his biology book for his class he was in, talked about evolution, and so he was put on trial for that. And it was actually kind of a big deal because the ACLU got involved and they essentially said it was wrong for people to be prosecuted for this. And William Jennings Bryan, who's a big Christian, hardcore Bible believer, fundamentalist, he prosecuted the case. Mr. Bryan even said, and this is from one of the articles I found during my research, a newspaper article, it said, he called the trial a duel to the death between secularism and the Bible. Um, this argument between modernism, secularism, and the church actually started well before this case even came to pass in the 20s. It started late 1800s, early 1900s. And in essence, the battle between a war, if you want to say, lack of a better word, between the fundamentalist beliefs of the Bible and the modernistic beliefs of essentially you should just live a good life, kind of went to bats well before this trial. World War One, the Great Depression, and even eventually World War Two kind of caused the strife between these two even more. Um, excuse me. But this was a battle that went on arguably for decades, and it seemed to cause a lot of strife within the church because many denominations, if not all, had some type of separation or strife or disagreements, whatever you want to call it, between themselves. And many of the churches did break up. Many um, separated and formed different denominations. But it was interesting, though, during my research, I was seeing that while many saw this trial as putting the Bible on trial and putting um, the story of creation on trial and using Darwinism to fight that or argue against that, it was actually interesting that one of the articles I've read actually said that evolution or the study of evolution actually increased because of this trial. And for example, this is an article, I'm going to read it verbatim to you. It's an article from July 19th, 1925. It's the Guardian and the Observer, which is the newspaper that posted this article. In the first paragraph, it says librarians all over the country report a rush for books dealing with the theory of evolution in consequence of the interest aroused by the Scopes trial in Tennessee. The library shelves have been cleared not only of all latest treatises on the subject, but also of older works such as those of Darwin and Huxley, and many dusty old volumes which were formerly taken out once or twice a year now hardly get a chance of rest. And I thought that was actually kind of interesting that um, the argument between the two, was the Bible correct? Was Darwinism correct? And many think in this trial would actually, the winner of this trial would be would move on, and the loser would essentially just fade from existence. And many people did believe that if evolution were to win the trial, that the Bible would fade away because they couldn't go together like oil and water. You couldn't mix them. And I just thought it was interesting that this trial actually increased the study of evolution, and it actually brought more attention to evolution than I guess was originally intended, because they intended to show how the Bible was correct. Thanks, guys. You have a good day. Bye.